Hello everyone, it's a good day today. My name is Johan Yashwant Singh and I am an computer science and engineering student at Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, bearing USN 1VE 20CS031. Today I will be presenting on the topic of economic analysis investment project in India as a part of my energy and environment course 18ME751. So, in my presentation, I will be discussing the key factors to consider when performing an economic analysis of an investment project in India. I will also provide some example of how this analysis can be used to make informed decisions. I hope that my presentation will be informative and engaging and that it will leave you with a better understanding of the economic aspects of investment projects in India's energy sector. So let's start with our next agenda. So our today's agenda is introduction about economic analysis, then investment trends, then need for private investment, then challenges to attracting investment, opportunities for private investment, recommendations for the government, and conclusions. So India's energy sector, a growing investment opportunities. India's energy sector is one of the largest in the world with a total installed capacity of over 400 gigawatts. The sector is growing rapidly, driven by India's economic growth and population growth. The Indian government has prioritized investment in the energy sector to meet this growing demand and to achieve its sustainable development goals. Investment trends. I would like to subdivide this topic into three parts. India's energy investment has increased substantially. Power sector absorbs the largest share in India. Government prioritizes infrastructure spending including energy. As this bar graph you can see beside, it is the installed capacity in 2019 relative to 2022, and it in India it targets 2033 that it would be expectedly 450 gigawatts. Now further we will divide this topic into three subparts. First one is key ideas. So India's energy investment has increased substantially in recent years, reaching almost $77 billion on average since 2010. The power sector absorbs the largest share of investment, followed by the oil and gas sector. The Indian government is targeting a significant increase in energy investment in the coming years. Some of the supporting examples are in 2021, India attracted a record $13.5 billion in foreign direct investment, which is FDI, in the energy sector. In 2022, the Indian government launched a new energy policy which aims to increase India's renewable energy capacity to 500 gigawatt by 2030. In 2023, the Indian government announced a new $10 billion investment plan to boost its domestic solar manufacturing capacity. And now there are some details about this investment trends, which is private investment account for significant share of India's energy investment, and foreign direct investment in India energy sector has increased steadily in recent years. The Indian government is offering the range of official and non-official incentives to attract private investment in the energy sector. The Indian government is targeting private investment in a range of energy projects including renewable energy, oil and gas, and power transmission and distribution. So this is the India's breakdown of 17.9% renewable energy by source, and this pie chart is from 2018, which is hydroelectricity acquires the more percent, which is 8.7, and then wind energy acquires the 3.9%, and then biomass energy and waste energy acquires 3.2%, and solar energy is 2.1%. And breakdown of Indian historical electricity generation from 2010 to 2019. Solar energy will be used as a little bit more than previous years, and coal energy is also increasing, but as it is a non-renewable energy, so in maybe in future we will might be looking down to this coal energy, and we will be using solar energy, wind energy, and renewable energy sources more. Now our third is need for private investment. We will divide this topic into two parts. First is public funds are not sufficient. Second is government needs to mobilize private capital including FDI. So what are the key ideas on this topic? The Indian government's public funds are not sufficient to meet the country's growing energy needs. The government is therefore looking to attract private investment to the energy sectors. These are the some supporting examples. which includes India's energy investment needs are estimated to be around $1 trillion over the next 5 years. The Indian government's public funds are not sufficient to meet these needs. So the government is therefore looking to attract private investment to the energy sector. These are some details. The Indian government is offering the range of official and non-official incentives to attract private investment in the energy sector. The government is also working to improve the regulatory environment and make it easier for private investors to do business in India. The government is targeting private investment in the range of energy projects including renewable energy, oil and gas, and power transmission and distribution. Now, challenges to attract investment. So, we will divide this topic into two parts. One is complex regulatory environment, and next one is dominance of state-owned enterprises in certain sectors. So, there are number of challenges to attracting investment in India's energy sector, including the complex regulatory environment and the dominance of state-owned enterprises in certain sectors. The Indian government is working to address these challenges. So there are some key ideas related to challenges to attract investments. One of the biggest challenges to attract investment in India's energy sector is the complex regulatory environment. Another challenge is the dominance of state-owned enterprises in certain sectors such as oil and gas and coal. Then there is some example of supporting examples. The World Bank has ranked India 142 out of 189 countries in terms of ease of doing business. State-owned enterprises dominate certain sectors of the Indian energy sector, which such as oil and gas and coal. This can make it difficult for private investors to compete. Now, there are some details related to these challenges. The Indian government is aware of the challenges posed by the complex regulatory environment and the dominance of state-owned enterprises in certain sectors. The government is working to address these challenges. Therefore, the government is committed to creating a more transparent and predictable regulatory environments for business. The government is also working to improve the coordination between different ministries and agencies involved in the energy sector. Now we will move to our next topic, that is opportunities for private investment. There are three opportunities related to private investment in India: renewable energy, oil and gas energy, power transmission and distribution of energy. So these are some key ideas related to opportunities for private investment. There are number of opportunities for private investment in India's energy sector, including renewable energy, oil and gas, and power transmission and distribution. Some supporting examples are: India has one of the highest renewable energy potentials in the world. The government is targeting 500 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity by 2030. India is a major oil and gas producer and consumer. The government is opening up the sector to private investment to boost domestic production and reduce reliance on imports. India needs to invest heavily in its power transmission and distribution infrastructure to meet its growing energy needs and improve access to energy. The government is offering a range of incentives to attract private investment in the sector. Some details are: the Indian government is offering a range of official and non-official incentives to attract private investment in the energy sector. The government is also working to improve the regulatory environment and make it easier for private investors to do business in India. Details: the government is targeting private investment in a range of energy projects including renewable energy, oil and gas energy, and power transmission and distribution of energy. Now we will move to our next topic, that is recommendation for the government. It is divided into three parts: simplifying the regulatory environment, provide more official incentives, open up more sector to private participations. Like, to attract more private investment to the energy sector, the Indian government can simplify the regulatory environments and provide more official incentives and open up more sectors to private participations. So some key ideas related to recommendations are: the government can simplify the regulatory environment and make it easier for businesses to do business in India. The government can provide more official incentives to private investors. The government can open up more sectors of the energy sector to private participation. Now, supporting examples are, as of you can see, as of you saw in the previous slide, the world government has ranked India 142 out of 189 countries in terms of ease of doing business. The Indian government has offered a range of official incentives to private investors in the energy sector, but more can be done. State-owned enterprises dominate certain sectors of the Indian energy sector, such as oil and gas and coal. Opening up these sectors to private participation would increase competition and promote innovations. Some of the details are the government is aware of these challenges posed by the complex regulatory environment and dominance of state-owned enterprises in certain sectors. The government is working to address these challenges, but more needs to be done. The government has a number of options for simplifying the regulatory environment, such as reducing the number of permits required for new businesses and streamlining the approval process for energy projects. The government can also provide more fiscal incentives to private investors, such as tax breaks and subsidies. The government can also open up more sectors of the energy sector to private participation, such as oil and gas and coal. So everyone, here I want to conclude my today's presentation by some subtopics which I want to remind again, like India's energy sector offers significant investment opportunities. The government is committed to attracting private capital, like to the sector to meet the country's growing energy needs and achieve its sustainable development goals. India has one of the highest renewable energy potentials in the world. The government is targeting 500 gigawatt of renewable energy capacity by 2030. India is a major oil and gas producer and consumer. The government is opening up the sector to private investment to boost domestic production and reduce reliance on import. India needs to invest heavily in its power transmission and distribution infrastructure to meet its growing energy needs and improve to access to energy. The government is offering a range of incentives to attract private investment in this sector. India is a growing economy with a large and growing energy market. Thank you everyone for your valuable time and attention. It has been an honor to share this knowledge and discussion with you. If you have any questions or would like to continue this dialogue, please don't hesitate to reach out. Have a wonderful day.